new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
I'm going to insert right here the clip of how you could win the WWS shirt. You can do that by leaving a review on iTunes or commenting down below as to why you should be the winner, and we're going to pick a few winners, and we'll go ahead and send you guys one out. Alright. Let's get started with Smackdown 2/12/19.
Excited to see what Charlotte was going to say after finding out that she was going to replace Becky Lynch at WrestleMania.
Do you think we should let them know what Charlotte had to say?
Yes, definitely we should let her know.
Alright, let's get started. Charlotte Flair opens up the show. She came out and she basically said that she is going to WrestleMania and she's extremely excited because she basically punched her ticket to WrestleMania already thanks to Mr. McMahon, the chairman and CEO of the WWE. Nobody can pretty much go against his word. So, hey, if he says she's going to WrestleMania, she's going to WrestleMania. And she pretty much said that since day one, Becky Lynch dropped the ball, and she did that starting at Survivor Series when she picked Charlotte to replace her to go on to face Ronda Rousey. And is Charlotte right? Yeah, because, but at the same time she's not, because it was an accident. It wasn't like Becky Lynch was planning to not go in to the Survivor Series match. She got hurt, she got her nose broken, and it was just a complete accident. So I don't know if I agree with Charlotte on this point that she was trying to make.
Yeah. I mean, I could have probably picked somebody else, but keep in mind that Becky had already come out of a feud from Charlotte, and she knew that if someone could compete against Ronda, it was going to be Charlotte, so she did make the right choice on that. But like you said, I don't know if I could agree on that.
Yeah, because it was one thing if Becky decided she didn't want to face her, and it was another that she got injured. So I don't necessarily agree with Charlotte on that one, but I agree with this next point that she made. She said she was the backbone of the women's division, and I feel like she really has. She's carried the division over the last 3 to 4 years on her back.
She really has. I mean, look at all the matches she has had throughout her career. That's why I always call her Big Match Charlotte.
Yeah, and you gotta give it to her. It's not just her last name. It definitely is who she is inside of the ring and the character outside of the ring as well that identifies her.
She has proven it, and I see her being at least a 16-time women's champion. Kind of what her father did with the men, being a 16-time World Heavyweight Champion.
I definitely do see that, and she referred to herself as a future Hall of Famer, and she's right. She definitely is going to go into the Hall of Fame as one of the best women's wrestlers in this entire industry. So I agree with her on that one, and I also agree with her on this one. She said she was added to that match because it is a smart business decision. We said this a few episodes ago, where not having Charlotte in this match was going to be missing out on the biggest opportunity of the WWE, because this is going to be the biggest match.
Yeah, like we have mentioned, it's just the perfect timing is now. Like I said, you don't know what's going to happen down the road with Becky, with Charlotte, with Ronda. If this match was going to happen, it was going to happen now.
Exactly, and I feel like they could not have made a better decision. Having Charlotte, like I said on the past episode, having Charlotte is going to elevate this match. Not the feud, it's going to elevate the match.
The quality of the match is what you're trying to say.
Yes, it's definitely going to improve that. And nothing against Ronda and nothing against Becky Lynch, but I just feel like somebody like Charlotte Flair is very, very deserving of this opportunity that she's going to be getting. And I do feel like she's definitely earned it, regardless of what everybody else has to say.
Yeah, she definitely has earned it.
And she did say this is going to be the match of the year. I could potentially see that.
I agree with her, just because the women, throughout these past couple of years, they've been killing it every time they main event, every time they have a match. Sometimes they even overdo the men.
And she says that at WrestleMania, she's definitely going to be hearing that this is awesome chance. She promises that. And that's one of the things that also comes with the Charlotte Flair match, because if you look at all her matches, 99% of them, I can almost guarantee, all have this is awesome chance. And that is something you want to see at WrestleMania, especially if it's going to be main eventing the big show.
You want a good match at WrestleMania, and adding Charlotte to it is a huge bonus.
And adding insult to the injury, she pretty much said she's going to be dedicating her win at WrestleMania to Becky Lynch.
Yeah, letting her know who the real queen of the WWE is right now.
Yes. And for those of you that don't know, Becky Lynch did get suspended by Mr. McMahon for 60 days, which means she's going to be coming back right after WrestleMania. But I don't think so. She has to be back sooner because she's just not going to settle for being away from the business and having her opportunity just being taken away from her.
And like Becky Lynch said, she's going to do whatever it takes, and she's going to get rid of whoever steps on her way. And now Vince McMahon and Charlotte are in her way of being in the main event for the title at WrestleMania.
Yes. Now, she could potentially go after Vince. She could go after Charlotte. But Armando and I were talking, and in 2 weeks, Ric Flair is having his birthday celebration in Atlanta, Georgia.
So don't be surprised if Becky decides to come out through the crowd and attack Ric Flair, and Charlotte Flair, wanting to get retribution, will probably end up challenging her.
Which is the perfect setup, and that is exactly how you could get Becky Lynch back into this match. Because think about it. Obviously, Becky Lynch is still going to be part of the match. That's a given. It's going to be a triple threat. You already know that. The problem is, how did they unsuspend Becky? She's going to have to do something major to get back into this match, and I feel like attacking Ric Flair is going to be perfect.
Yeah, attacking a legend at Raw when everybody's there. Don't be surprised if the McMahons are there too.
Yep, 100%. I agree with that. Is there anything else you want to add on Charlotte Flair?
No.
Other than the fact that she is deserving of this match. Alright, moving on to Carmella and Naomi versus Sonya and Mandy versus the Iconics. Now, keep in mind, the pretty much loser of this match, the first person to get pinned in this match, was going to become the first team to enter the Elimination Chamber, along with Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Yeah, and very unfortunately, this advantage should start first in the chamber, because you'll suffer from fatigue, tiredness.
You'll suffer from fatigue.
Yeah, tiredness, and I mean, you're the first one to start. You have to survive 5 other teams.
Exactly. So therefore, whoever lost this match was at a huge disadvantage, especially the team that you're going to be going up against. Sasha Banks and Bayley, you can expect them to go through the first team, right? And in this entire match, the brilliant team will probably come out victorious, because I'll tell you guys this right now, Armando's prediction is exactly this team. The Iconics stayed as far away from this match as they possibly could, because why? If they can't get into this match, they can't lose, which means they can't be the first team to go into the chamber.
Yeah, they were smart because they knew it was a triple threat match, so they didn't have to be involved in the match. So what did they do? They tagged themselves out and they let the rest of the teams compete. And what ended up happening? Sonya Deville and Mandy were the ones that ended up losing, so that makes them the first team. The Iconics play the odds now and they see what position they get. For me, that's very smart, and they're my favorites to win the Elimination Chamber and be the first ever women's tag team champions.
I definitely agree with him with the Iconics, but if I had to choose a different team, it would probably be Sasha and Bayley, just because they have not been getting pushed this long for them to now win something. You know what I mean? And I feel like now is the time, especially if they want to do Sasha versus Bayley down in the future. But I definitely have to agree with you on the Iconics. They are a huge possibility. I mean, I really do not see Mandy and Sonya winning this. They'll get pretty far, maybe, potentially, but I just don't see them becoming.
I think what's going to affect Sonya and Mandy is being one of the first teams. Carmella and Naomi, we've really haven't seen much of them together, and I think that's a huge disadvantage on this. Yeah, they're both talented and they work well in the ring, but that team chemistry is not built there yet. You know, they probably get along, but working together.
Yeah, so now keep in mind, they haven't been a team for a long time, and a lot of the little things can trigger these teams because they're not used to working together. And in this match, you really got to see Carmella and Naomi showcase what they're willing to do. And same thing with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Yeah, and then going into the Elimination Chamber, because we're also doing the prediction, Nia Jax and Tamina also look pretty solid. Ever since they were partnered up together, they've pretty much been unstoppable.
And you have somebody like Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, who are family, have each other's back. They are brilliant, they're smart, they have an excellent mentor. So they are very, very dangerous going into this match as well, because keep in mind, they have the mentality that Ruby Riott has. And Ruby Riott is smart and extremely brutal. So they are going to be at an advantage as well, because they're family, they have each other's back.
Yeah, definitely have to agree with you 100% on that.
And they're one of the teams that has improved so much throughout the course of the year that I wouldn't be surprised if they actually walk out the tag team champions as well. It is a possibility. They're not my pick, however, but do not be surprised. This team is going to go very, very far in the Elimination Chamber.
And like you said, the little detail is what makes the difference, and I feel that Liv Morgan and Sarah are pretty much working well together since the beginning, and they're going to be focused 100%. They're going to let nothing get in their way.
And other than the Iconics, this is the team that can potentially take it home. Why? Because the Iconics and Liv and Sarah are the only teams that have been established for super, super long now. And they're the only teams that have not backstabbed each other. If you remember correctly, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose were feuding at some point because they were having some sort of disagreement, and it was kind of when Paige became general manager, I believe.
And last year's Elimination Chamber, I believe Sasha betrayed Bayley, so that could come into play.
Exactly. And you have Nia Jax and Tamina, who, yeah, they've kind of been together for a while now, and so far they've showed no signs of weakness. But keep in mind, when they first started, they didn't know if they hated each other and if they wanted to fight each other, or if they wanted to come together, which at the end they did.
But the disadvantage that Nia Jax and Tamina have is that other teams could gain up on them and potentially eliminate them.
Exactly. So this is going to be a very, very close match, but it's going to be interesting to see who the very first women's tag team champions become. They're going to make history.
To be a great match, and to be the match of the night, if anything.
Yep. So I definitely am looking forward to this. Let us know in the comments below what your prediction for the Elimination Chamber is, especially for this match. Alright, let's move on to MacMiz TV, which basically is Shane McMahon and Miz together for Miz TV, but this time they named it MacMiz TV. We're going to have special guest stars,
the Usos.
So, the Usos go on and they start telling them, oh, you guys are not a real tag team. Do you know what the Miz's favorite color is? Do you know what he likes to eat? And they start asking each other all these questions, and obviously they know the answers. They're brothers. They've been together for so long. And they go on to tell the Miz and Shane that they basically have no chance against them because of their lack of not being together for this long. They're not really an established tag team. They were just kind of thrown together. And that's basically what the Usos were trying to tell them.
Yeah, and that the Usos are by far the better tag team in SmackDown, in my opinion. And I'm sure you could agree, and I'm sure all you guys could also agree on that.
And they have fought 54
times, I believe, championship matches.
Tag team championship matches.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah, it was 53. But that is very, very impressive. How many have the Miz and Shane had? Together. Just one.
Yep.
So it's like they haven't really been a team for so long, so I get where the Usos are coming from. Now it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Shane and the Miz survive in this match.
Right now they're in the same page and they really haven't been put in a stressful situation. And the Usos have already proven themselves in the tag team division. So we'll see where the Miz and Shane McMahon go.
And the Usos pretty much decided to super kick Miz and Shane, therefore setting up a very, very interesting way to the Elimination Chamber. Prediction?
I go for Shane and Miz.
Yeah, I have to go with Shane and Miz. They just won it, and I really don't think they would have gone this far to give them this big of a push if they were only going to have them win for a few weeks and then have them lose it. So now it's like I don't see them losing it till potentially after Fastlane.
And what better way to prove themselves than with one of the best tag teams, which is the Usos.
Yes, so you can definitely expect a great match, especially because the Usos are going to be a part of this. But also, we know the Usos know how to survive. But we also know that Miz is a mastermind. He's brilliant, so it's going to be interesting to see what he has up his sleeve. Now remember, he's a face, he doesn't cheat, but even then, he's still the Miz. That doesn't change anything.
Yeah, he's always creative, finding ways to win, and uses whatever he can to capitalize.
Yep. And now moving on to the second match of the night. Yes, there was only 2 matches in Smackdown that turned into something even bigger, which is now the gauntlet match. So, Daniel Bryan starts off with Kofi Kingston. For those of you that don't know, Mustafa Ali, he got injured, so he is not going to be medically cleared to be able to compete at the Elimination Chamber. So, therefore, one member of the New Day was going to replace him, and they decided to go with Kofi.
I didn't think they were going to go with Kofi. I thought they were going to go with Big E, just because it was going to be a... You know how gauntlet matches are? You have to go for a long period of time. And I think Big E's size would have made a huge difference. But at the end of the day, they ended up going with Kofi Kingston. And he was very, very impressive throughout the entire match.
I agree with you. I do feel like they were going to pick Big E, especially, his size. And you do have to go for long periods of time. But I feel like they made the right choice with going with Kofi Kingston.
But not only that, but also for the chamber match, if you really analyze the Elimination Chamber, Big E would have been a perfect candidate to be in it.
Yes, but I also feel like they did pick the perfect candidate because Kofi Kingston, a lot of stamina. He can survive for long, long periods of time. We've seen it in the Royal Rumble. We've seen it in all of his matches. He has what it takes to survive longer than any other member of the New Day in this match.
Not only that, but the talent and the creativity, and we saw a lot of that in this match. And not only that, but the heart that he showed throughout the entire gauntlet match was just super impressive. You could tell he wants to be champion.
To keep this very, very short for you guys, because basically he went through almost everybody. The only people he didn't beat were AJ and Randy Orton. So that just goes to show Kofi Kingston earned his opportunity to be not only in this match, but in the Elimination Chamber. And it's going to be very interesting to see what number he draws. Because if he is number 6, that's it. It's over, because he is going to be fresh. And you already know that even if he comes in at number 1 or number 2, he's going to be fresh right off the bat. And he's going to probably survive longer than anybody else in that match.
Yeah, and I mean, what a way to show all these guys that he is a serious threat in the chamber than by doing what he did in the gauntlet match.
Yep, and I do feel like he's been underestimated this entire time. Yeah, he's part of the New Day. Yes, they've seen him perform. But you would have never expected a performance like this from Kofi Kingston. And I feel like now it's really opened the eyes to guys like Daniel Bryan, guys like Randy Orton, guys like Samoa Joe. You know, anybody that's part of this match, he now just opened their eyes to them and was like, you know what, I have what it takes to compete with everybody, and I am definitely on your level.
When he first started in the gauntlet match, I thought he was only going to get up to 2 superstars. He went even further than that, just because, like I said, a gauntlet match, they're brutal. They take all your energy away, and you always have this advantage because your opponent's always going to be fresher than you.
Yep, and he went through Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe. So he took out 3 people single-handedly by himself.
And if it wasn't for Samoa Joe attacking him right after his match, after he lost, I think he probably would have beat AJ Styles just because of the momentum and the adrenaline he had throughout the match.
I definitely have to agree with you on that. I do feel like Samoa Joe played a really, really huge factor in this match. But also you have to keep in mind, he's smart. He knew that if he took out Kofi Kingston, he was not gonna be 100%. And not only that, but he was gonna be a less of a threat. Because you already know Samoa Joe has already beaten AJ Styles. You know, one way or another, he's already beaten him, and he's taken out the majority of this guys, and he wasn't able to beat Kofi, so you definitely can expect Kofi Kingston to be Samoa Joe's target at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and then not only that, but AJ, when he came out, he showed some respect to Kofi of what he had done, and he's like, you don't have to do this, it's fine, you're already proving yourself, and Kofi Kingston was like, no, this is my time, I've been wanting this for the longest time, I waited 11 years, and he took AJ to the limit, even though he was already almost, I think he lasted 50 minutes, if anything, in the gauntlet match, which is very, very impressive.
That is definitely very, very impressive. The last time we saw somebody do that was Seth Rollins at the gauntlet match that they had on Raw, but you definitely have to give props to Kofi Kingston. He did a hell of a job, and he represented the New Day, and he for sure did a fantastic job doing that.
And as AJ had already beaten Kofi Kingston, which he made him tap out, he was waiting for Randy Orton to come out as his music would play, and guess what happened? Out of nowhere, Randy Orton with that RKO, 1, 2, 3, and it was over. Just like that, Randy Orton can capitalize and win the Elimination Chamber.
Yes, and you also have to keep in mind, the RKO is probably the most dangerous and the most efficient finisher you could ever possibly have, because you can execute it at any given time. You can be jumping from the top rope, you can be doing a super kick, you can be doing whatever you can potentially think about, and Randy Orton will be there to 1, 2, 3, flip it all around, and he will get the victory.
Yeah, that's why it's called RKO, out of nowhere.
And I do believe he is the most dangerous competitor going into the Elimination Chamber match.
And keep in mind, the winner of the Gauntlet match was going to be the last entry. So Randy Orton is guaranteed to be the last entry in the Elimination Chamber, which makes him extremely, extremely dangerous.
It definitely makes him extremely, extremely dangerous, because if you've seen the Viper, he can do some very, very vicious things to you. And not only that, also keep in mind, this is the 7th Elimination Chamber match. So he definitely has experience, and you can definitely expect him to take advantage of every single opportunity he's going to have in this match, because there is one thing he is focused on, and that is becoming the WWE Champion. Prediction.
My prediction for this match is going to be Daniel Bryan. I see him walking into Mania as champion.
I 100% agree with you on that one. My pick will also be Daniel Bryan, but also keep in mind, you can see somebody like Randy Orton potentially taking it home just because of the number of advantages that he has going into this match.
And another thing why I picked Daniel Bryan is because he's got Rowan on his corner. Rowan could cause a distraction outsider. You know, he might even interfere in the match, if anything.
Yep. He's just going to have to find a way in, but he definitely can interfere, and it would be perfectly legal.
Because this new Daniel Bryan is smarter and is willing to do anything to win and retain his title.
So the brains pretty much of this entire 6 men is Daniel Bryan, the most experienced and the one that has the biggest advantage in this match. Definitely Randy Orton. And I also see Samoa Joe as a very, very dangerous competitor, because once he locks in the Coquina Clutch, it's pretty much over. Unless somebody is willing to save you, you're done.
And we're kind of forgetting a little bit about Jeff Hardy. He also has experience, but not as much as experience as Randy Orton in the Elimination Chamber, and he could be a game changer in this match.
He definitely can, but he does have to keep an eye out for those big moves that he likes to do off the top of whatever, because he could do it off the top rope, he could do it off the one of the pods. But also keep in mind, if he does that, Randy Orton can capitalize very, very quickly and take advantage of the opportunity to RKO him right into the cell.
Yeah, and if anything, that all the high flying moves that Jeff Hardy likes to do might come back and end up haunting him in the Elimination Chamber.
And we did see that in his match against Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell. So keep that in mind. Randy Orton knows probably all of these opponents very, very well, and you can definitely expect him to do his homework on everybody. And what is there to say about AJ Styles? The man is experienced. He definitely knows what he's doing, and I feel like he's ready for a fight.
He is, and what better way to show it than in the Elimination Chamber to get back what he feels he never should have lost.
Yep, 100%. I don't see him winning it, sorry. I definitely do see Daniel Bryan winning, though.
Yeah, another one that's going to be a great match just because of the superstars that are in this match.
Let's move on to the rest of the match card predictions, because that was it for Smackdown. They put on a pretty good show. You got to give it to Kofi, who pretty much stole all of Smackdown. It was his moment. It was his time to shine, and he definitely took advantage of that. Let's get into Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. Who do you see walking out the Elimination Chamber as the Raw Women's Champion?
I'm going to have to go with Ronda Rousey on this one.
I 100% agree with you on that one. I do see Ronda Rousey walking out of the Elimination Chamber champion. That's pretty much a given. You can pretty much expect that because she is going to go to WrestleMania. She's definitely going to headline WrestleMania. So I do see that. But you can definitely expect Ruby Riott to give her one hell of a fight.
I'll tell Ronda not to underestimate Ruby Riott.
And if you can, Ronda, do some very serious homework on Ruby Riott because she is brilliant. And don't be surprised if she has the Riott Squad at ringside.
That's what I was going to say. This past week on Monday Night Raw, Ruby Riott decided not to come out with the Riott Squad. So let's see what she decides to do, if she's going to be with the Riott Squad in the Elimination Chamber. The Riott Squad's going to be ringside with her.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. And if they do decide to be ringside, that makes her even more dangerous because Ronda Rousey is going into this solo. At this point, she doesn't have anybody else to help her other than Natty, but I do not see Natty going out to stand in Ronda Rousey's corner.
And even then, the numbers game, too, will play a huge difference.
Exactly. They could always distract the ref, and, it's just a matter of how many heads you have. And at this point, Ruby Riott has the most heads. Alright, the next match. Who do you see winning versus Lio Rush, Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor? It's a handicap match. The winner of this match pretty much becomes Intercontinental Champion. So if Lio Rush is able to pin Finn Balor, I assume Bobby Lashley would still retain. And if Finn is able to pin either Lio or Bobby Lashley, he automatically becomes the Intercontinental Champion. So he doesn't even have to pin Bobby Lashley.
I'm going to have to go with Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush on this one, just because, one, the numbers game, two, they've been working well together, and they could just easily distract the ref. And they've been playing mind games with Finn Balor, and keep in mind, Finn Balor hasn't been 100% since the Brock Lesnar match.
He definitely has not been 100% yet, and I do see your point. I could potentially see them, I guess, retaining, but I don't at this point because I think this is Finn Balor's moment. This is his time, and I feel like they can't miss out on that opportunity because after facing Brock Lesnar, you have to respect Finn Balor. You have to respect what he does. He definitely slayed the beast in the way of giving him and taking him to the limit, which is something you don't really see Brock Lesnar go through. He's usually always dominating the match, and in this case, Finn Balor really took him to his limit. And you've seen Finn take on 2-3 contestants and still come out victorious. So he definitely is a target, so therefore my pick is going to be Finn Balor. I see him becoming Intercontinental Champion at the Elimination Chamber.
We'll see who wins, and excited for that match as well.
Let us know below who is going to win. And I think that may be all of the matches that we have. Oh no, we're missing one match that was just added to the card, which was Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin in a no disqualification match.
I'm going to have to go with Braun Strowman on this one.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one as well. I see Braun Strowman winning. I think it's his time to win. Also, keep in mind, it's like he hasn't been able to beat Baron Corbin single-handedly by himself since TLC.
Yeah, but keep in mind that in TLC he was still injured and he had pretty much backup of everybody that Baron Corbin had screwed over.
Yeah.
And another thing, too, that may play a huge factor in this match, Baron Corbin has friends. And his friends are McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. So they could potentially interfere in the match if they want to. Just throwing that out there.
They definitely can, and he does have backup. He definitely does. But also keep in mind, Baron Corbin has a lot of enemies, and we saw that at TLC. So this match could go both ways, but I agree with you on that one. I do see Braun Strowman finally defeating Baron Corbin and, getting rid of the bad guy. Now, after Braun Strowman beats Baron Corbin, what happens with Baron Corbin? What's next for him? Because so far he's just kind of been feuding with Braun and Kurt Angle, and after this, what's next? Potentially facing Angle at Mania?
Probably just because of the feud that they had a couple months ago, and they'll probably end up fighting each other at Mania, like you said.
That's where I see him going. Other than that, I don't know what's next for him. He's already won the Money in the Bank, had a failed cash-in, and then went up to being part of the corporate team, and now, that really, really helped him. He became general manager, and now he's at a point where he's kind of in the loop. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
We'll see after Mania. where he goes, if he stays on Raw or if he goes back to SmackDown. Me personally, I would like him to stay on Raw because I think he's been doing a fantastic job in that, proving that he can hang with this top talent on Raw.
I definitely agree with you on that one. Before we close this off, let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Champion, Asuka. She doesn't have an opponent, and going into Mania, she still doesn't even have an opponent. She doesn't even have a match at the Elimination Chamber. Who is next for Asuka? Who is ready for Asuka should be the question.
Yeah, I mean, I see why she doesn't have an opponent in the Chamber, just because half of the talent is going to be in the Chamber match. But for Fastlane, I really don't see her facing anybody in the SmackDown division because she pretty much already beat everybody. You had mentioned somebody in the last couple of weeks.
I had mentioned Alexa Bliss simply because it makes sense. You know, she already hinted it on Raw. If you missed out on the episode, click on our videos below and you'll go ahead and be able to see that. But she basically goes up to Becky Lynch and she tells her, I don't think you should apologize. It's just going to make you seem weak. And that right there just already hints to the fact that, okay, she wants a title shot opportunity. The problem is, how do you get Alexa to be from Raw to SmackDown? And I see it happening with a moment of bliss.
A moment of bliss, exactly what I was going to say. And I had her also thrown out an option. It sounds kind of crazy, but we all know that Paige is having a movie. She's promoting it. I believe it comes out on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. So usually what happens is when somebody comes out and promotes their movie, they end up coming back to the ring. If it happened with Daniel Bryan, why can't it happen with Paige? So I had said that Paige would be another option for Asuka, even though it sounds crazy.
I could potentially see that as well. I mean, what else is left for Asuka? Asuka has pretty much gone through everybody on Raw, and she's gone through pretty much everybody on SmackDown already. She needs a fresh new opponent, and I could potentially see one of these two women going on to WrestleMania and facing Asuka.
Yeah, and since Charlotte got added into the WrestleMania match, that leaves her with no opponent because Charlotte would have been a great opponent for Asuka, even though she already beat her at last year's WrestleMania.
Yep, and I don't know. That's all I have for you guys on this episode.
Yeah, so let us know, comment below, who do you guys want to see Asuka face at WrestleMania? Because as of right now, she doesn't have an opponent.
She does not have an opponent, and right now, at this point, it can be anybody. And do not be surprised if they throw somebody random in there. But I suggest Alexa Bliss. It makes perfect sense. You put Alexa back on SmackDown. There's nothing left for Alexa to do in Raw. So I feel like she could really potentially help the women of SmackDown Live.
Yeah, and this would be a great way to move Alexa over back into SmackDown.
Yeah, or you could even give her Mickie James if you wanted to. Yeah. I mean, you know they have beef from NXT because Mickie James couldn't beat Asuka, so...
Another reason why I said Paige too was just because she really hasn't had that moment. She missed all the women's first ever, and she missed the Royal Rumble, and what better way than for her to come back, if she were to come back, than to face Asuka and probably beat her at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could also see that happening, but it's going to be interesting to see where they decide to go with Asuka. Stay tuned because you already know we will definitely bring the latest to you guys. But also, right before I close this out, I want to touch on Paige a little bit. I could see Paige facing Asuka for this other reason. She's not the general manager. She's not wrestling right now, and she's not going to be a part of Total Divas anymore. So where does that leave Paige? What is next for Paige? Because, yeah, they promised we were still going to see more of her, but we still don't know how. They haven't said she's going to be a commentator. They have said she's not going to be part of Total Divas, though, and they have said, you know, she's not going to wrestle, quote-unquote. What's next for her? She's not the general manager. What's her role in the WWE? What's awaiting for her?
Yeah, and I feel that she was in Total Divas just because she wasn't able to wrestle, and that was a great way of showing us Paige. But now, I have a feeling she might make her return. But yeah, again, I could be wrong. Keep in mind, it's just a prediction.
It definitely is. So, just throwing that out there. Also, keep that in mind when you're thinking about who could potentially face Asuka. There's a lot of things that can lead Alexa. There's a lot of things that can lead to Paige. We won't know until probably closer to WrestleMania. But that's all I have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings.
Yep, that's all we have. Thank you guys so much.
And remember, in order for you to be able to win this shirt, I will stick it right here so that you can see it. Yep, right there. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And in order to win it, you have to leave a comment below or go write us a review on iTunes, and we will be picking some winners. There'll be more than one winner, and you guys can become a sibling today. Join us. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much.
We'll see you guys next week on a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.